The 1990s in English football were remembered for the dominance of Manchester United. That success was largely due to the talent and vision of the Red Devils' equally famous manager, Sir Alex Ferguson. He took over the reins in 1986 and is Manchester United's second longest serving manager, after another icon of the game, Sir Matt Busby. After Busby retired in 1969, none of his immediate successors proved capable of winning the league title for Man U. And although many supporters were initially unimpressed with Sir Alex Ferguson, he broke the drought and steered United into another golden era, etching his name into football history. Before finding success as a manager, he was simply a young Scottish footballer trying to make a name for himself. Sir Alex Ferguson was born on December 31st, 1941, in Scotland's largest city, Glasgow. He made his debut at the age of 16 for amateur club Queen's Park in Scotland as a striker. As a professional, he eventually signed with Scottish First Division club Rangers FC. He ended up there after being traded from another Scottish First Division side, Dunfermline Athletic, in 1967. His transfer fee of £65,000 between Dunfermline and Rangers set a Scottish record. He played for Rangers for 2 years. Then, in the 1969 Scottish Cup final, young Alex was blamed for a goal scored against Rangers, which cost them the match. He later conceded that the loss was a factor in his departure from the club. His early exit from Rangers coincided with Sir Matt Busby's retirement as manager of Manchester United, after overseeing the most successful era in the club's history. A fellow Scotsman, Busby had proved his mettle by building the winning team from scratch, and after the Munich air disaster decimated the side in 1958, he did it all over again.
A new team. Call them babes, if you like. And that same conviction would overcome terrible injuries, and from the terror of a snow-swept runway in Munich, would inspire, heal, encourage, challenge again, until the cup was won.
When Alex Ferguson succeeded Ron Atkinson in 1986, after almost 2 decades of disappointment, he faced a mighty challenge. But he took inspiration from Sir Matt's example of how to resurrect the club.
I probably brought a great deal of sympathy at the time, and from there on, the romance is built, purely because the way Matt rebuilt the team and won the European Cup in '68 and did it the right way.
Sir Matt had won 5 league titles, 2 FA Cups and 1 European Cup. Any new manager had the hard task of living up to the expectations that Busby had instilled in Man U supporters.
I think back to what he actually started after the war, and the vision to take Manchester United into Europe in '56 was beyond his time, I think, and it was before his time, and beyond everyone's thinking. That's a real link I've got with Sir Matt, in the sense that the years I've spent here, 21 years, have been about achievement and about entertaining and about meeting the demands of the modern game.
Much to the delight of United fans, Alex was to have a bright future with the club. Manchester United were the second last in the league when Alex Ferguson took over midway through 1986. He managed to bring the side back up to 11th by season's end and save them from relegation. The next season, he made several major signings, and the team finished second behind Liverpool. During his first seasons at the helm, he made several signings, and in 1989-1990, United won the FA Cup despite their poor showing in the league. In December of '92, he made his most significant signing, acquiring Eric Cantona from Leeds. Cantona was the final piece of the puzzle. He became the star, as United finally broke a 26-year drought and became league champions. Their form continued into the 93-94 season, when they went one better. They won the double of the league and the FA Cup for the very first time in their 116-year history. More success came in the 95-96 season, when they again won the double. They were indeed a force to be reckoned with. In the 1998-99 Premier League season, Alex Ferguson's United won a tightly contested league title and then secured their third double with a 1-0 FA Cup win over Liverpool. And soon enough, the possibility of an unprecedented treble entered the equation.
Well, obviously we are waiting for Ryan Giggs. It is a problem for us because we don't know for certain whether he's going to make, and I always like to have the team in my mind. But we're going to have to wait, and I don't mind that in this situation because it can make a difference.
The squad stayed remarkably calm leading up to the Champions League final.
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting. I mean, you know, we've got the chance of winning 3 trophies. So the lads are relaxed, I mean, especially, you know, after winning the league as well. We can just go on and be a little bit more relaxed in the 2 games coming up.
The stage was set for the last match of the season, the 1999 UEFA Champions League final. With the double in the bag, Manchester United needed to defeat Bayern Munich to complete the Holy Trinity, a feat which no English club had ever accomplished.
Obviously there is a lot of pressure still on because people are talking about trebles, but you know, we're just concentrating on winning, you know, each game and taking each game as it comes.
Unfortunately, not everyone can be picked, and Ferguson had the task of deciding who was in and who wasn't.
It's kind of a major decision about who I pick, because when they're all available, as it always happens, cup finals, you have to disappoint people.
The game was to be held in Barcelona on the 26th of May, a day which would have marked Sir Matt Busby's 90th birthday. By now, Ferguson had won 5 league titles, the same amount as Busby. If he and Manchester were able to secure the Champions League trophy, Alex Ferguson would become Manchester United's most successful manager.
United or Bayern?
Man United.
And the score for the game?
I think about 2-1 United, Beckham and Dwight York.
The team arrived in Barcelona in great spirits, answering questions from the press and fans. The team had never been more closely scrutinised or under more pressure. Ferguson managed to keep himself and his side calm, at least on the surface.
What about the flight?
Fantastic. Wonderful.
And you had a top flight and there's a top performance on Wednesday?
I hope so. Hope so.
And Sheringham start the game?
I've not picked my team. We're picking Wednesday morning.
And how do you rate the Germans for the final? They're quite good on the decisive match.
They're a great team, yeah. But so are we, so it should be a good match.
Well, I mean, it's a big game, a very big game, and I cannot afford to be sentimental about my own position here. So I'll have to concentrate and focus on the game. And it's a European Cup final. You don't get them bigger than that.
The fact that United had made the final was impressive enough. They had landed in a very tough group with Barcelona and Bayern Munich. They made the final with just 5 wins in total, despite not losing a game. No team that had not won their league the previous season had ever won the Champions League. United would not have qualified under the old qualification rules, but this was a year for firsts. The United team was full of stars. Among the lineup were David Beckham, Ryan Giggs and Dwight York. However, they were hurt by the absence of Paul Scholes and Roy Keane due to suspension. Despite the blow, United fans still had faith their team would prevail.
Think you're going to have joy or disappointment in the end?
Enjoy.
Joy. Who's your favourite player on Man United?
Keane.
Keane. He's not playing, so...
Beckham.
I don't think United are ever scared of anybody. The Germans are always good in any competition, especially when they get so far to the final. So, like I said, as long as we don't get to penalties, I think we'll be well. I don't think we've ever won on penalties against the Germans.
We're going to do it. We are the team. We are definitely going to win. Aren't we, lads?
Yes! After such a huge build-up, the day finally came. And to the delight of Manchester United fans the world over, they won the Champions League and secured the coveted treble. Fans couldn't contain their delight and celebrated till the early hours of the morning. It was a milestone not only for Manchester United, but for English football. It took only 6 minutes into the highly anticipated match to yield the score. Unfortunately for Ferguson, Ronnie Johnson clumsily fouled Bayern striker Carsten Janker just outside the area. Free kick taker Mario Basler kept the ball low and curved it around the United wall to give his side a handy 1-0 lead. Bayern started the second half even stronger, until Ferguson made the critical move of bringing on Teddy Sheringham and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. With the match seemingly slipping away from them, it took until injury time for the Red Devils to score 2 quick goals, both from corners, timed at 90-36 and 92-17. The scorers were the 2 substitutes, Sheringham and Solskjaer. United had stolen an amazing victory. Alex Ferguson was knighted on the 12th of June 1999 in recognition of his services to the game, and he wasn't finished yet. United lost none of their steam, taking the next 2 league titles to win 3 in a row. They won another a few years later as the club started to rebuild a new team for a new generation, waving goodbye to the old guard.
It's a new generation. They are very strong, but they have a lot of things to prove to. They have a good, great team, strong. They can do it, but they need to do it.
A key to the potential success of the new look team was instilling in them a sense of personal accomplishment. Sir Alex wanted the team to stop living in the shadow of the most successful era of the club's history. He knew that the current squad had to create their own history and keep their eyes on the future.
I think the team of today is a team of today, and they don't need to worry about the past or need reminding of the past. I've seen it many times in video. When time Manchester United TV on, it's on many times. So I don't think it's lost in anyone in our team, but even more important is what they can shape themselves in their own history, hopefully. I think they're good enough to do that.
He brought in young star players like Wayne Rooney and Cristiano Ronaldo, who would have great impact for United. Fans who cheered for heroes such as Beckham, Keane and Scholes found something new to cheer about in the young up-and-comers. Club icon Roy Keane left United in 2005, in what was a very transitional year for the side. The same year they signed Michael Carrick, who turned out to be a worthy replacement for Keane. With a host of young stars in the side, it was time for United's resurgence.
They buy young players like Rooney and Ronaldo, and Ferguson is the kind of manager who can help the greatest player with a lot of experience, and he's also the one who can help the young players. Not all the manager can do it, and he can do that, and so he can find the balance on a pitch too. So you can have a very strong team, and I think they are stronger this season at the moment and for a long time.
United bounced back in a big way in the 06-07 season, winning the league title for the first time since the 02-03 season. United were back to their best. They won the league again the following year.
Since we've won the championship, we've had 10 days good preparation. Probably the preparation has helped the staff more than the players. It was a long season, and we all feel the strains and stresses of it.
In the 07-08 season, Manchester United again challenged for the Champions League trophy. They faced Chelsea in an all-England final.
And I think we're at our best shape tomorrow, and hopefully good enough to win this trophy.
The Champions League final against Chelsea was the first all-English final in the history of the European Cup. United eventually prevailed 6-5 on penalties, after extra time could not separate the sides, who were tied at 1-1. Continuing their dominance, United won the league in 2008-09, making it another 3 titles in a row and mirroring their dominant performance in the 90s. With his 11th Premier League title, added to 5 FA Cups and 2 Champions League trophies, Sir Alex Ferguson had cemented his status as Manchester United's most successful manager. The most successful manager in Manchester United's history doesn't have a lot of time to spend away from the game. In between strategising for upcoming games, training, travelling and recruiting, Sir Alex has to endure the stress of watching his precious side play. No doubt the number of hours he devotes to his beloved football have put a fair amount of pressure on his marriage to his long-suffering wife Kathy, although by now she must be well used to it. The pair, who married in 1966, have 3 sons together. Mark, who was born in 1968, and twins Darren and Jason, who were born in 1972. Darren has followed in his father's impressive footsteps and currently manages second-tier club Preston North End. Under his management, the club is currently winning 42% of their games. In 1999, following the Red Devils' record-breaking season, Ferguson heard that he was to receive a knighthood for his services to football. The news didn't come as a complete surprise.
This is seen by the many millions who follow football and who are enthused about football as being a good reflection on the Labour Party. So it's part of a mutual adoration society.
To the delight of thousands of fans, as of mid-June 1999, the treble-winning manager down at Old Trafford would now be referred to as Sir Alex. He'd first received royal recognition back in 1983, when he was handed an Order of the British Empire for his services to football. 12 years later, he'd been honoured again with a CBE. On accepting his knighthood, Sir Alex became the only English football manager besides Matt Busby to receive the honour. Sir Matt's knighthood had come after Manchester United won their first European title in 1969. Despite not guiding the Devils to the treble that season, Busby had accomplished the impressive feat of putting together a Europe-beating side after the horrific Munich air disaster.
Where are you going? You can't play that goal too.
Sir Alex became the 11th person to be knighted for services to football. Since then, 3 other members have joined the elite group, which boasts 14 of the most influential figures in football since Sir John Charles Clegg was knighted in 1927. During his time at Manchester United, Sir Alex has managed some of the greatest players of the modern era. Early on in his career at Old Trafford, he worked alongside the likes of Eric Cantona and Roy Keane, who were soon followed by the next generation of stars, including David Beckham, Gary and Phil Neville, and Paul Scholes. Today, it's the brilliant striker with the incredible work ethic that gets the fans to their feet. Wayne Rooney's aggressive game style, powerful strikes and precise headers have helped keep Man U at the top of the EPL.
You know, work hard and try 110% each game. I think, you know, you've got to do that, and I think the fans see that and appreciate that.
The Croxteth-born forward began his career at Everton before being transferred to Manchester United in 2004. Still only 18 years old when he left Everton, his transfer of around €28 million broke all records for a player under 20. Now in his mid-20s, Rooney can still remember his childhood ambition, striving for greatness and dreaming of playing against the world's best footballers.
When I was a kid, I used to just love playing and practicing and just playing football really, and used to enjoy it. So, and I used to want it. I used to want it bad, and you know, I think that's where I am at the moment. And you know, I think for any young kid, I think if they do that, they'll have a chance.
Now in the 8th season of his professional football career, Rooney has played over 350 games and scored more than 140 goals. He is just one of the many great footballers that Sir Alex has had the pleasure of managing at Manchester United. And he has no illusions about how lucky he has been.
I've been very, very fortunate. I've had some great players with wonderful heart. I mean, his names trot off your tongue, like Cantona and Mark Hughes, Roy Keane, Brian Robson, and now we've got this wonderful kid, Wayne Rooney. I mean, just the heart. And I think that when you sum it all up, you can talk about his skill, and you can talk about his pace and his ability to beat a man. But the thing will always come out, it's because he's got the heart to do it.
Despite Rooney's brilliance, it was Portuguese attacking midfielder Cristiano Ronaldo who stole most of the headlines during his 6 seasons at the club. Scouted by Sir Alex himself from Sporting Lisbon, it didn't take the young Ronaldo long to find his feet in the EPL. Although many of the Manchester United fans were up in arms when Sir Alex handed the teenager the famous number 7 shirt, Cristiano didn't let the moment get the better of him. And despite his inexperience in senior football and the fact that he was still a teenager, Sir Alex was more than happy with his progress.
Well, I think that we've seen the progress of Cristiano this season. It's been absolutely fantastic. I think he's, to my mind, at the moment, is the best player in the world. And I think, you know, you can't say that lightly, given there's some fantastic footballers there.
In no time at all, Ronnie won the respect of the once disapproving fans and was well on his way to becoming one of the greatest players in world football.
Especially Cristiano, he's winning games on his own. This season he's been unbelievable, and you know, I think at the minute he's by far the best player in the world.
During his time at Old Trafford, Cristiano scored once every 2.5 games, including 42 goals from 42 appearances in 2007-2008. Alex Ferguson's run of success at Manchester United is unmatched by any other manager in the history of English football. Since the inception of the EPL, Man U have claimed 11 out of a possible 17 Premier League crowns. On top of this, he has won 5 FA Cups, including the 89-90 win, which arguably saved his job, 4 League Cups, 2 UEFA Champions League titles and a FIFA Club World Cup. Overall, he has led Manchester United to over 30 titles. Individually, his record run at Old Trafford has won him an enormous trophy haul. With 58 individual honours already to his name, Sir Alex is undoubtedly one of the most celebrated managers in football history. His many honours include being inducted into the English Football Hall of Fame in 2002. He has been named the Onze d'Or Coach of the Year on 2 separate occasions, the Premier League Manager of the Decade and Premier League Manager of the Year 9 times. The 1990s in English football were remembered for the dominance of Manchester United. That success was largely due to the talent and vision of the Red Devils' equally famous manager, Sir Alex Ferguson. He took over the reins He ended up there after being traded from another Scottish First Division side, Dunfermline Athletic, in 1967. His transfer fee of £65,000 between Dunfermline and Rangers set a Scottish record. He played for Rangers for 2 years. Then, in the 1969 Scottish Cup final, young Alex was blamed for a goal scored against Rangers, which cost them the match. He later conceded that the loss was a factor in his departure from the club. His 1986 and is Manchester United's second longest serving manager, after another icon of the game, Sir Matt Busby. After Busby retired in 1969, none of his immediate successors proved capable of winning the league title for Man U. And although many supporters were initially unimpressed with Sir Alex Ferguson, he broke the drought and steered United into another golden era, etching his name into football history. Before finding success, early exit from Rangers coincided with Sir Matt Busby's retirement as manager of Manchester United, after overseeing the most successful era in the club's history. A fellow Scotsman, Busby had proved his mettle by building the winning team from scratch, and after the Munich air disaster decimated the side in 1958, he did it all over again.
A new team. Call them babes if you...
Yes, as a manager, he was simply a young Scottish footballer trying to make a name for himself. Sir Alex Ferguson was born on December 31st, 1941, in Scotland's largest city, Glasgow. He made his debut at the age of 16 for amateur club Queen's Park in Scotland as a striker. As a professional, he eventually signed with Scottish First Division club Rangers FC.